Hello viewers, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here and are yet to subscribe, please click on the subscribe button so that you'll be up to date with my latest videos when they are posted. And for my consistent returning viewers, I say thank you for following and for viewing these videos, for liking, for sharing, for interacting and commenting with my previous videos. Thank you very much. In this video, I'll be talking about the statement of purpose. And the statement of purpose is a very important document in your graduate school application abroad. And here, I'm going to show you what the statement of purpose is, how it differs from the personal statement, and also the tips on how to write a strong, a compelling statement of purpose. I hope you enjoyed this video. And again, please subscribe to this channel if you are yet to do so. And we'll get straight ahead into the video. What is a statement of purpose? SOP for short. A statement of purpose is an extension of your personal statement. What is a personal statement then? In a personal statement, your readers want to know where you are and how you got there. It is like a statement of your professional experience so far and how you have achieved these. So this is like a highlight of the professional experiences that are included or not included in your CV. It is not a repetition of your CV, but an extension of your CV, a kind of an opportunity to provide explanation of some issues you may have mentioned or key achievements or key experiences you have captured within your CV. In another video, subsequently, very soon, I will talk about how to prepare an academic CV. Back to this video. In a personal statement, you tell the story of where you are professionally and how you got there. Now, to add to this, a statement of purpose becomes a statement, a document, an essay that contains where you have been, what experiences you have had, where you are currently, and the direction you are headed for the future, particularly what your career prospects are and how a particular graduate course, a particular program, enrolling in a program, taking another degree, or conducting further research, advanced research is going to take you there. So, a personal statement differentiating clearly from a statement of purpose does not include the future prospect, the career, direction of the applicant, of the candidate. But a statement of purpose contains the personal statement, which is what you have experienced, what experiences you have had, where you are, and where you are headed. This is what makes a statement of purpose distinct. And this is why it is vital in every graduate school application or scholarship application to show how motivated, what is your purpose and what is your direction in submitting that application. Makes it very crucial for selection committees globally to make a decision on whom to pick and who to refuse. Sadly, the length of the statement of purpose or personal statement or motivation letter, as each university will want to call this, is sometimes specified in the application requirement of a particular program. This is why it's important to know the program you're applying, the university you're putting in for, to be able to determine what specifics are required from you in the essays that you have to write, essay or essays that you have to write, such as the statement of purpose. So some will go to tell you how short or how long they should be, and sometimes also what specific contents they want to see as a way to guide your writing and as a way to also check your creativity, as a way to see how much you are able to adhere to instructions and to put forward, your experiences in a summarized and in a strong, punchy way to attract the committee for your selection. So it's good to search out this information and follow it as it applies to the specific university or course or program you are applying for. Quickly say that a lot of samples of statement of purpose, motivation letter, personal statements are available on the internet today. It is very risky to copy any of those things online and adopt as yours. You may see how they present their ideas, how they order their thoughts, and how they bring in these elements of the statement of purpose. But copying these would amount to plagiarism, which puts your application at a huge risk. Or sometimes, if this is discovered even within your program, you are likely to have your admission, your scholarship, your funding terminated because plagiarism is a very grave offense in the world of academics. You could learn a thing or two from these samples online, but never copy them, never lift, ideas from this material online, so as not to jeopardize your chances. But in the current application and even in the future, in preparing your statement of purpose, I would advise that you have a general statement of purpose which is comprehensive, which incorporates a lot of things. I'm going to tell you about the content of a standard, a compelling statement of purpose very shortly. And you can have a general statement of purpose which is comprehensive and elaborate, which you can always adapt to a specific application. Beware not to send that general statement of purpose to all applications, to all universities, all departments, or all programs you are applying for. You must do your homework well, research on each university you want to apply, what courses they have, the title of the courses, the application requirement, the university values, their mission, their professional, the experts within your course of study, your program, your selected program. These are things you must adapt within each statement of purpose SOP that you send out for all your graduate school application. This way you have a general one to work with, yet with each application you adapt, this statement of purpose to reflect the unique features of the university, the program that you are applying to make it unique as the university. This is a very important tip to keep in mind as we proceed. The components of an SOP. There are three major components that must be clearly and consistently captured in any winning SOP. Number one is your background. Number two is your objectives. And number three is why the university. Number one, your background. What are the experiences you had that shaped your ambition to undertake studies in this particular field? Number two, your objective. What are your professional objectives? What are your career objectives? And how is enrolling in this program related or essential in achieving or attaining this professional or career objective? Number three, why this university? Why not the other university? Why this course? Why not the other course? How is it critical in achieving your objectives and in fulfilling the ambition that your background has shaped you to aspire to? And these are the basic elements in any statement of purpose. Now, I give some specific tips on organizing your statement of purpose. Continue watching. And please, if you're yet to subscribe, please subscribe to this video, to this channel. In the first paragraph, it is essential to introduce yourself in a very unique manner, demonstrating your passion for this field. In the second paragraph, you should give a very brief story, 3 or 4 line story, 3 or 4 line paragraph, telling about your background, your experiences, and the things that have shaped your ambition, your desire to undertake a study in that particular field. Paragraph 3, you should talk about your academic background, the courses you may have taken, possibly with the grades in those courses, and the conferences you have attended, the professors who have taught you, who you have learned from, or experts you have been mentored by, as a way of reflecting or showing how much of academic interest, how much of academic um, um, concepts you may have acquired, in your previous education or practice of your course. And if you have made publications or unique professional accomplishments or conference attendance and presentations, it is also good to mention one or two captivating ones in your third paragraph. This way, you're building on your previous experiences in a way that is chronological, talking about your background, experiences, and motivation, and talking about the efforts you have put in academically and professionally to get to where you are. And then you are gradually building up, you're building up your storyline in a way that is really interesting with content that will induce the reader to see what is in the next paragraph, what is in the next sentence, and what is in the next line. In the next paragraph, now you have talked about your background and then what motivates you, what drives you to undertake this course of study, this research area, and what academic experiences, professional experiences you had. You won't just end here, you have to incorporate other activities like co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities in your field of interest. If you have undertaken some volunteering, some community services, leadership roles you have, taken up in the past, you need to capture this briefly in another paragraph to show that you are not just a one-sided academic person, but you're also engaged in community service and interaction and networking and volunteering activity, which is very important. Now, after this, I would suggest also that if you have a course, to make further explanation, for example, some people back in Africa, they have to put up personal work, individual work, work after school as a way of taking care of themselves, and this reduces the amount of study time, personal study time that they have, and makes some persons graduate with some poor grades, or even some other unique circumstances that may have happened in your family or to you as a person that shows that's inhibited or impeded in your academic achievements. You could find a way to fit this in. This is optional, it's not compulsory, it's not mandatory. But if there is such a strong reason why something, about something that had, come in the way of your academic achievement, is good to mention it here in the statement of purpose. Then, as a way of closure, you should be able to provide very strong, relatable reasons why you are choosing this graduate school, why you're choosing this university, and why you are applying, to this specific course, this specific department beyond your academic background, and then your previous experiences or the things that have shaped your interest. What else from the university draws you, attracts you to it, to want to study there? Could there be professors who are there, one or two professors who are undertaking research in your preferred field of study, or your research interest, coincides or matches with theirs? It is a time to mention it. And if you have also contacted them and they gave you consent to, apply, or they advised you to apply, it's also a good time to mention it. And if there are cultural attraction to that particular city where the university is sited, this is also a time, to bring it in before you finally give a punch line of, closing sentence to close the statement of purpose. Remember how I have mentioned this. You start with the introduction, a catchy introduction of yourself and your passion for the course, and then you talk about the experiences that have shaped your ambition to take up further studies in that particular course. And then you now talk about your academic and professional experiences and how they will contribute to your success in that chosen course. And then if there are co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities you have undertaken, leadership experiences, volunteership that you have undertaken in the previous years or currently doing or currently implementing, it is good to capture them. And if there are explanations you need to make about your poor grades in course A, B, C, or your graduating CGPA, it's also good to mention and capture these, and then close with a paragraph talking about the unique features of this university. Not just that this university is a top ranking university, that's a generic one, but what attracts you to that course of study, what attracts you to that program in that university. You identify this and highlight it, towards the closing, and then you give a punchline to close your statement of purpose. I will present to you 10 tips that will be very useful as you capture, this, as you follow up on this to produce your statement of purpose. Each of us is unique. We're all unique, and we have very unique features that differentiates us from one another, and so are our experiences. And it is necessary for each candidate to, number one, choose the personal qualities that they want to present, they want to show forth, they want to exhibit in their statement of purpose. You may want to exhibit your passion about that chosen cause. You may want to show the intelligence that you possess and your ability to graduate with excellent grades, or ability to study in an international setting, or your ability to, your prospects of expanding cooperation between that university and other universities where you're coming from, or the preparations you have made in your previous studies, and what experiences you've had that prepares you for these current studies, and all of this. You must think about your personal qualities and how you're going to present this in your SOP to make your unique story. And I keep talking about story because the SOP is not a repetition of your CV, your curriculum vitae, which is a separate document on its own. It is rather an extension or selected highlights of key events, key issues, and key achievements in that CV that makes you want to be the person who is chosen by the selection committee. And you present this in a story format. So you adopt stories to talk about, statements from your CV, which you include in your SOP. In your statement of purpose, it is good to adopt stories. So I keep talking about stories all the time because this is how to make this statement of purpose attractive and inductive to the reader to want to read the next line, the next paragraph, the next statement, and the reader finds himself, reading up everything if this is properly presented. And so you're talking about yourself, you're talking about how you came about this, passion to read this course, to undertake research in this course. It can be something that is touching, it can be something that is, very, very personal, but you make it that which is relevant to the application, to the course that you are about, to apply for. So you adopt storytelling approach in writing your statement of purpose. And this must be very brief per point, very brief per point. You have a story to tell. For example, when I was writing one of my SOPs in the past, I talked of how I could turn problems to prospects, because I needed some set of data at a very small level for my research in my master's degree, and I couldn't find it. And eventually, what I did as part of my master's degree, an extension, a research extension within that program, was to develop a model to predict such kind of data from, what I eventually collected in the field. And this way, you're able to prove I could tell this story in 3 lines to show that I am someone who transforms problem to prospects. And this is just a good example of how to do this. And don't try to fabricate stories. Don't try to force in force in stories or steal other people's stories. You have your unique stories, and those stories are very important and very, very unique to you, and are important to be heard in convincing the selection committee that you are the right candidate for that position. So, number one, choose the personal qualities you want to present in your SOP. And then number two, adopt storytelling method in writing your SOP. Number three, do not fabricate story. This is not a creative writing essay, but is an essay that shows who you are, where you have been, what you have been through, and how these things have shaped your desire, your ambition to pick up, to select this specific course of study for further education. Now, number four, apply measurable quantities in your SOP. As you tell your story, these stories, some of them have quantitative indicators. For example, if you are mentoring, if you are mentoring students or you have taught students in the past, you should be able to tell how many students, approximately how many students, or how many courses you have taught, or how many hours you have spent teaching this course, or how long you have spent, teaching that course. For example, you have taught algebra to 10 students, and all of them went ahead to make distinction in algebra. This is more specific than saying, I taught students algebra in ABC school. Apply the figures to amplify the story and to make it catchy and specific. And this is necessary for the next point, which is number five: be specific. Aside from applying numbers to increase the specification of your story, it is also good to be specific in the points that you raise. You cannot just say, I love this course. I love geography. That's why I want to have a master's in geography. Well, you can love geography, but that's not enough to give you, admission to admit you into this course. That's not enough to fund you to come and read, what you love. There must be something else. There must be something specific. There must be a problem you've identified. There must be something that spurred you to want to read geography, and even at an advanced level. For example, if you're writing this for maybe doctoral studies and the like. So the why is very important, and this must be specifically presented in your statement of purpose. Very important. Number six, customize your essay and make it unique to each application. I said this before, that although you can have a general statement of purpose, for your applications, each submission should have a unique statement of purpose that is adapted to the university, to the course that you're applying it to, because each university has its own value, its own vision, culture of the location where that university is located, and other features that makes the university unique. So endeavor to do your homework and customize your essay according to the university, the program, and the course that you are applying for. Number seven is to adopt a balanced tone. A balanced tone. You should neither be too formal or too casual in your presentation. So you should think of it like how, assuming the dean of my faculty, the dean of my college, is seated before me, and I need to make this presentation, and I need to read it out from this paper. And how am I going to talk to the dean? How am I going to address the dean on telling my story? Because this is your story, it makes it not a formal presentation. It is not a research, and so it is not formal. The content you are delivering is not a formal content, so it must not be too formal, too rigid, too stiff in tone. Neither should it be too casual or playful, in approach. So you want to think of it as being in a balanced way, balancing the super formal from the super casual, and finding somewhere in the middle ground. And number eight is what I've said before. If it is applicable to you, clear gray areas. Why did you make possibly a B grade, a C grade in the specific course in your transcript that applies to the current interest that you have, even though you say you're passionate about it? or why you say you are a high flying student, you're very passionate, you're very ambitious, but how come your CGPA is, below excellent? These are things you should think of bringing in to your SOP. Towards the end of the SOP, incorporating a line or two. It may not be too defensive. It may not be too obvious that you're trying to, bring in something, but you find a way to fit it in as to what affected your performance, because that question is going to be there. Okay, if this person says, I love algebra, I don't know why I'm talking about algebra a lot, or I love climate change, and the person did not pass so well, did not get an excellent grade in a course that is related to climate change or algebra within his or her transcript, then it raises some doubt on the other things you are claiming to have. So there is a way to, this must be balanced in the SOP, further information to be presented. And then we're coming to close to the end of the tips I have to share with you. Number 9, check this first draft. After the first draft of your write-up, check it, edit it, proofread it, and this should be like half a day interval. You don't just write, your SOP, even if it is half a page, even if it is just one page. I'm sure you can go over it very quickly and say, okay, I've checked it. No, give it a day or two, sit on it, and then come back to it and read it with the eyes of the reader. Read it with the eyes of the assessor. In that way, you are able to tell what should be there and what should not be there. And let me quickly say that as you edit, you just write and write and write all you need to write. But when it comes to editing, you are able to filter information to what is most required. The most critical contents that must be retained are those things that should be retained. Other things that can be inferred from your CV. For example, I got this CGPA and I had this, grade. They can be gotten from your CV. It is there in your transcript. Those things are not most critical information. So you check it, and also when you check it, you edit it, you proofread it, by yourself. After some time, you also find a critical friend. Everyone has that critical friend who would put in, the effort to give a critique and say, oh, this is weak, this is not really good, this is not that fitting. Can you cut off this? Can you include this? And be sure to, get that person to have a look, and then incorporate suggestions and you know their comments to improving your final version. Now, before you use that SOP for application, that is why application is not a day job, it's not a 1 week job. It's possible to do an application in a day, but that may not be the best if you have not planned for several days before, several weeks prior, several months, or even years before. Now, what must you do? The last thing I suggest, number 10 tip, is to send it to a professor in that department. A professor probably whose interest coincides, matches yours, a professor or the graduate officer. The graduate officers may be too busy, the program officers may be too busy because they get thousands of email, but send a polite email to a professor, sharing your statement of purpose and most likely your CV and your transcript and all those things, and asking for a kind review if this statement of purpose fits, what is really attractive for admission and funding into the department. I've already made a previous video on how to get a response, how to write an effective email from a professor in my channel. Please kindly check that video and see what elements must be included in your email to ensure that you get a reply from a professor when you send them your statement of purpose for comments to help you improve that. And with this, I would say you are ready to submit a very strong statement of purpose in your next application. And I'll say that's all for this video. Thank you for watching. And please, if you are yet to subscribe to my channel, I kindly ask that you click on the subscription button and become a member of my channel. I'll be happy to see you listed, and click on the notification bell so that you get an alert as soon as I post my next video. My next video would be on writing an academic CV. An academic CV is different from other kinds of CV or resumes around. Watch out for it, and it will come up very, very soon from now. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye.